This woman, her name is Candace Owens. She's a major Meghan hater. She hates Meghan with a vengeance. I don't know what Meghan ever did to her because, I mean, is it a question that, Meghan met Harry first and so she had to settle for whoever she got married to or what? But she hates Meghan with a passion. And she has no love lost for Harry either. So she really just hates the Sussexes, and it's very, very bizarre. I'm like, what did they ever do to you, right? So she has this YouTube platform, and she has a very large following. She's like a right wing talking person, if you will. And she's very, very popular. People love her. They love all of the bile that she spews. I mean, her and there's another one, Megan Kelly, as well in New York, who got fired from, I think it was NBC or one of those, shows in New York. And then she became a YouTuber, sort of like Piers Morgan became a YouTuber. And so this one was never really a professional journalist, to my knowledge. She got her fame through YouTube, and she's a hater. She hates Meghan, right? She hates Meghan, but she hates other groups and people too. She particularly hates like BLM, Black Lives Matter. She hates the the gay community, lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, whatever community. And she just says a lot of she says a lot of things about a lot of people, and it's very bizarre. I mean, I find her bizarre. I find her rhetoric bizarre. I find her bizarre. Like, how do you form these kinds of opinions and feelings about people? I mean, it's just so bizarre. Her politics, it's just really bizarre, right? Just her thinking. It's like, what does she eat for breakfast? Like, what's wrong? What happened? She has frogs in the brain. Like something's wrong, right? That's it. So to my shock, I heard from CNN that she's been let go from the Daily Wire. So apparently, her main employer was the Daily Wire. It's a right wing media outlet which was co-founded by Ben Shapiro. And on Friday, last Friday, apparently they severed ties with her because she had repeated anti Semitic rhetoric, right? So it got pretty wacko there. Apparently, she said there's a genocide in Gaza. I haven't been following the Gaza story and the war with Israel. I mean, to me, it's the same old, and for me, it's all very silly in the sense that, you have these neighbors and they're just like hating and killing on each other, and there's no end to it. There's just no end. It goes on and on and on, and I don't understand, and I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. So I've just not said anything, and then you have powerful governments backing this up, and I'm like, the insanity of it all has just, it escapes me. I can't understand. The solution is just, for me, clear. Stop your shit, all of you. I don't give a crap who did what. Just stop, right? Your brothers, your neighbors, okay? Put your weapons down, work your problems out, and learn to cohabitate in a space, right? Learn to cohabitate in a space, right? Allow everybody to prosper. Allow everybody to have their freedom, right? You know the Jews cannot move at this point. Maybe they did come back and reinvade or whatever. But you know what? It's like the Native Americans coming and telling all Americans to get out. I mean, it's over. The ship has sailed. They're back. Okay. But at the same time, they can't, marginalize the Arab people and, you know, force them into poverty and you can't do that. None of you can fucking do that. What the fuck is going on? All of you stop, right? For me, this is clear, but I digress. So I'm talking about Candace. So apparently, Candace basically said, that there's a genocide in Gaza And she said here, well, this is a quote according to CNN, that she fiercely criticized Israel. Well, I'm really surprised by that because it seems to me that she's usually on the side of the people who are strongest in the situation. And to me, the Israelis are the strong ones in their situation, not the people in Gaza. All of the powerful people in the world support the Israeli position and not the Gaza position. So I would have expected Candace to side with the Israelis, but apparently she has been saying, you know, all of these horrible things. What did she say here? She said there's a small ring of Jewish people in Hollywood and Washington, D.C. involved in something quite sinister. I have no idea what that means. And so the owner of her, her boss basically is Jewish, and he called her out for her disgraceful rhetoric and blasted her faux sophistication. I guess what I don't understand is like, she's been she's been at this job for about 3 years. Has he ever called her out about all the horrible things she has said about Meghan Markle and others? I mean, why only when she says things about the Jewish people that he doesn't like? I mean, this woman, Candace, is horrible. The things she says about Meghan is like, you would be forgiven for thinking that maybe Meghan stole her husband. She's horrible, right? But he never called her out for any of this, only when she says things about the Jewish people, which I don't understand that. I don't understand it. It's either you're either have your principles or you don't. You know what I mean? It's like it can't just be, oh, you can say whatever you want about everybody else, but not about us. Is that really?
I'm selling author.
Is
She's
it?
got
Is
the
that
Candace
it?
Owens show on the
Listen
Daily Wire.
to
Yes,
some
the
of the
one and
stuff
only
she said about
Candace
Meghan.
Owens joins me.
Horrible.
Candace, welcome to GBN America.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Not at all. Now, between our two countries over the centuries, we've exported many things to you and you've exported many things to us. And I always think when it comes to trends and food and all the things we do, America generally does things first and we do things second. But a recent export from the United Kingdom to America is a young couple. They were part of the royal family. They were their Royal Highnesses. They're now just the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And we've exported them, Candace, to you. And they're living happily on the west coast of America. And it would seem that after the quite shock cancer diagnosis of the King, that Harry only spent 24 hours in the country, a half-hour meeting with his dad, no reconciliation with his brother, and he's coming back to you in America. Are you pleased to see him return?
Well, I mean, come on, you fucking...
We certainly were not pleased to see him here at all. I was very content with them being put in Canada, but I obviously knew that they would end up in LA because that was Meghan's dream. Her dream was to be an A-lister, and she was unable to make it to those A-list parties on the basis of her own merit as an actress. She wasn't a very good actress, and so she figured out how to maneuver that by marrying a prince who, the only way to say it is, he's just not as intelligent as her. He's not reading the situation as clearly as other people are reading it, and he has been subjected to her manipulation. And I do also want to say this because it's really important of why their story became so big, and her using the Black Lives Matter movement, which was very big at that time before people started to understood that really what they were advocating for were Marxist principles. It's why she became the princess of BLM, because what's one of the biggest principles of Marxism? The breakdown of family. Black Lives Matter on their charter stated that they wanted to deconstruct the nuclear family. Well, Meghan Markle wanted to deconstruct a family, right? And she was going to pretend that it was for something noble. Racism, it wasn't so. It was really because she wanted fame and she wanted wealth. And I don't want to say that Prince Harry was an unwitting participant. I think he obviously is not as smart as her, but also he liked the fame and he liked the attention a certain way as well. And we had a very, very, very sad circumstance that played out here. So I'm not entirely shocked that he didn't spend that much time with his father. I have not been holding my breath for them to unify as a family because some of the things that were done, quite literally selling your family for profit, it's unheard of. But it's a Marxist belief that there's something more noble. There's something that the state wants you to believe in that's more noble. And in that circumstance, it's racism must be fought. But in reality, what's buried underneath is a state incentive to make people disloyal to the people that they should be the most loyal to. So no sympathy for Prince Harry, but a lot of sympathy for King Charles.
Yeah, so she and she goes on and on. But this is only one of many of her, diatribes and her invectives, her ad hominem invectives, if you will, against Meghan and Harry. And I'm just like, what did Meghan ever do to her? Number one. But number two, what do you think happened here with this woman? Her thinking. It's like her thought processes. It's like, it's like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes maybe there's some people where did something happen in the middle of the night where they're sleeping and something just comes and takes over and inhabits them. It's a very frightening thing because I see it in a lot of people nowadays. It's just very strange, their thinking. The things they say is just so completely bleeping bizarre. Bizarre. But she's been fired. What do you think that means? I mean, is she going to maybe she'll start her own YouTube channel because she does have a big audience. But let's continue to hear what else she has to say about Meghan, and then we'll talk again after the jump.
William and Kate to forgive him, given the awful things he wrote about them in that book, Spare. I guess if he was to apologise, then forgiveness might follow. And there were certainly some in this country, Candace, hoping for reconciliation. But, your thesis is that basically she's using him, she's using the fact that he's a British prince, and it's all about her. Now, what I'm interested in, is it just about money? Because they appear to have been paid a lot of money, in many cases for not producing very much content. Is it just about money and fame? Or do you think, Candace Owens, that somewhere within Meghan there are political ambitions?
Avant, je pensais que pour vivre de mon
So yeah, I mean, I think she goes on to say that she doesn't think there are any political ambitions, and whatever. And her bile, she just like emits all this bile like a big, you know, burst of flatulence, really, and voila. But yeah, so she's been fired. I don't think that's the end of her life and the end of her career because, again, she does have a very big following and people, she's got name recognition. So she can start a YouTube channel unless she has some kind of, contract, which like a non-compete or something, which seems illogical under the circumstances. I'm sure she can just like restart, like a Piers Morgan without the Daily Wire. But at the same time, the fact that she has been canned, right, is very satisfying. It's a little bit, muted by the fact that, why now? Why is it as soon as she said something that her bosses thought was not the nicest thing to say about Jewish people, she's fired, but she can sit there and say all manners of bile and horribleness and meanness and, just horrificness about everybody else. And that's perfectly fine. It's par for the course. It's good entertainment, and that she's their best friend. But then she turns it around on Jewish people and immediately she's fired. I find that a little bit hypocritical, I have to say.